I've talked a lot about Marvel Rivals cosmetics and not too much about Overwatch, but while the Hellfire Gala is cooking, I figured I would take a look at what sort of Overwatch skins might qualify for a formal party gala experience. Let's get into that. I was inspired by this video from Really Cool, where they go through what they think the different character costumes would qualify for like a formal party. And I agree with most of these with some different additional ideas. So I'm just going to go through them as well as share some of my thoughts on the default character outfits in general, since I haven't done that yet. Starting with Tracer, and we already know who she is, one of the flagship characters of the franchise and the series. I think I actually prefer her Overwatch 1 look just because there seems to be a bit more edge, and there's even a little bit more like garter detail around the thigh. But I mean, not bad for the Overwatch 2. And we definitely see that sleek, slim silhouette carry over to the formal wear that she has. This look obviously qualifies. I mean, I love the gold belt. Very simple, very modest. More so, I feel like for an evening night out, which is what another skin looks like. But I mean, it definitely qualifies for gala. It fits the color palette, easily formal. And a lot of these Overwatch skins just feel like glorified color swaps, which I mean, a lot of games like this do, but in this evening wear one, I mean, there's really not much change, but I do like that there's more detail in the pants and that there's just overall more gold going on. I kind of wish that there was more of that detail and the gold in the previous look, because I actually like the black and the white a little bit more, but this still works a lot. Then we have a Sojourn, and I love the, can I say body confidence in this case in the legs, because it's just like prosthetics, but still applies. And the top is really simple, but I like obviously the band details, the cross, the perpendicular nature, and a little bit of the collared jacket detail, simple. And that kind of carries over a little bit into this next look, but just so polished. Really loving the asymmetrical strap of the top. I love tops like this, love the cut of it, love the arm cuffs and the neckline. Just very simple, and it coordinates really well with those subtle details going on in the shoes. So clean, can't go wrong with black, white, and gold, right? Now, I fondly remember Baptiste quite a bit, and similar to Tracer, I have to say that I think I like the Overwatch 1 look better than 2. I just really love that scarf around his neck and how it is nicely complementary to more of the turquoise color in the body. Without that, it just looks kind of a little stripped down, clean, but a little plain. But as far as the formal wear, absolutely gala ready. Like, this is such a strong suit. We need more men dressing like this at the galas in general. I mean, I think we kind of maybe get variations of this, but it's just that huge gold statement detail going on in the chest that is amazing, and even loving additional gold detail going on with the robotic boots situation. So sharp. Cassidy is definitely giving some sort of like Western kind of fantasy we've seen before, just with more of those armored robotic details. I mean, not much more to say. I think I like, once again, the Overwatch 1 look more. The cape or the like wrap just gives a little bit more drama, but we still do get some good like extension and coverage with the Overwatch 2 look. So there's not like a completely drastic change. I just feel like the Overwatch 1 look just gave a little bit more of that Western stylish flair. As far as the formal wear looks, obviously crushing it with this simple all black ensemble. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. It's not really pushing the norms, but it's very sharp, very clean, but still sticks within that overall aesthetic that his archetype is aligned with. But I would even say that the Mystery Man one qualifies as well, even though it's a lot more covered up in the face. I love the detail of the scarf. I think the change in the hat is nice. And with his overall kind of cape or cloak, it still is true to his personal style with his overall framework and silhouette, but we get some great detail in it, which feels very luxurious and elite. So really loving that he can have some flex and range there. Now, Doomfist is a character where I think I like the Overwatch 2 look better than 1. I mean, 1 did have a lot more statement gold within the arm, but just the Overwatch 2 has a little bit more kind of textural details around the legs, and overall even just like the belt work is a little more clean and well styled, better styled. So I think I definitely prefer that upgrade. Once again, I mean, black, white, and gold. Simple, timeless, classic, but just with a character like him, I love the gold framed glasses. Like, it's just the small additional details on his that kind of really punch it up and give it a little bit more flair. But I mean, it's kind of giving a little bit mobster, and mobster is a common theme throughout a lot of these characters that kind of helps them qualify for this formal party gala experience. Junker Queen, love the body confidence. It's very punky, loving that style, obviously loving the crop, but what a transformation in the formal look. Absolutely amazing. It's mobster, it's mob, but I feel like it easily qualifies as like a power gala suit for a female character. Loving that we're still getting a bit of a crop, loving the kind of gold chain details, the statement belt. It's just, and the heels are stunning. I just think it's such a glow up for a character like her, but still gives a little bit of that attitude and edge. Symmetra by design is elegant and chic, so she's not really one that's hard to qualify. Her default look is, it's clean, it's simple. I like the Overwatch one look better. What is going on here? I'd like, it just love the body confidence and just loving how the top just has a little bit more coverage in the front, and there just seems to be more gold detail. So like, I don't know what the motivation and inspiration was for this Overwatch 2 design, but looking at the formal wear that she has, Art Deco, obviously we see that with these sharp geometric shapes, the overall just structural nature of the design, loving the bold gold detail. It absolutely dominates the look, easily puts her in such an upper echelon territory, and it's definitely giving a little bit of that 1920s flapper without like the typical flapper design, because I'm not always the biggest fan of that, but you can see it in the headdress. Now, Sigma is a character that I do prefer the Overwatch 2 design. It just feels fresher and cleaner, obviously a brighter overall color palette and smoother. But I mean, it's largely the same silhouette and structure, so we're not really getting anything kind of like, whoa. And it's an overall suit, so it's kind of like whatever. But this Maestro design, so great. And I like that it just, I love any time a character has like an armored bodysuit and they're broken out of it with more formal wear. And this is exactly what that does. Loving the cropped tailcoat and bow tie. I mean, it's more of like a, I think, musician, as stated, Maestro theme, but obviously aligns well with something more formal and gala experience. Lifeweaver is such an interesting design. I love when characters have some sort of like interesting detail going on behind them. And the overall style that he has is kind of naturally a little bit more elegant compared to the broader spectrum of characters. So I feel like it's not the hardest flex for him. This is Black Swan inspired, so it's more ballet, but ballet can often lean into something more high class, like sophisticated experience. And I love how the kind of flower bloom or whatever that is behind him takes on some of those Black Swan feathers, and just overall the vest, the hardware, the ruffle detailed to kind of like the formal shrug that he's wearing, just so sharp and clean, and really helps those kind of gemstone or jewel elements shine through. Junkrat, I mean, just by design, not a favorite character of mine, and like not usually my cup of tea. I will say that I think I do like the Overwatch 2 design better than the Overwatch 1, even though they feel a little bit of the same, just like the pants I think are a touch different. So I like a little bit, just a little bit more of the styling going on there. And really, again, a mobster oriented look, barely kind of qualifies, but it's a nice cleaner look for a character that is a lot more punky, rugged, grungy. So I really just appreciate that. So it's just clean, simple. We've seen it before, but it looks good on the character. Now, love Hanzo's design, both installments, but I like that there's more body confidence in the Overwatch 1. Like, give us the whole pec situation with the tattoo. Absolutely. Like, I don't know why we got rid of that, but I mean, it's nicely put together. Definitely giving a little bit more of an assassin's like vibe. There's a couple of options he has. He has this Scion look, which is just like a clean, like looks like some sort of like undercover on a mission, business oriented guy. Matching vest and pants, loving the blue side panels. But I mean, and like I was saying, a lot of these skins just feel like glorified recolors, especially just given a little bit of the additional rarity going on. But this Air outfit is much stronger, obviously. Like the vest, There's just much more going on with the different pieces and panels of the vest, and much greater detail, and just so much more interesting that makes it feel so much more high quality, darker, richer, literally and figuratively. Wrecking Ball, like, whatever, like, I do like the Overwatch 2 concept better, but I mean, it is what it is. As far as and barely qualifies for like a gala experience. This 8-ball look, like, just really the tuxedo vest and the bow tie, like, barely getting through the door. Reaper, I mean, it's almost kind of giving Punisher mask a little bit, and now that I've just gotten so acquainted with Marvel, I love the overall design. I feel like we've seen the 2 gunslinger trench coat design before, and the name's not that original, so I'm just kind of like, whatever. But I mean, it does lose a little bit of the extra ruggedness and menacing nature that we did see in Overwatch 1. So, like, again, we're just seeing a consistent trend there. This El Blanco, which is pretty much a mariachi look, I love the white and the gold. The black version felt more genuine mariachi, and I feel like this one just feels a little bit more refreshed and polished for a kind of formal gala experience. But this masquerade one, I feel like plays up a little bit more of the fantasy and gets a little bit more fun with it, and just has an overall more interesting design, even if it is giving a little bit of like Musketeer-ish or like that kind of genre or era. Lucio's design I remember fondly just because the colors really pop and stand out, and I love the kind of like, it feels like a rollerblade kind of concept to the boots. Overall, I mean, compared to, no, but I did like the Overwatch 1 style better. Gosh, like, yeah, Overwatch 1 was definitely better. Just more body confident and just much more of that sporty energy. And I feel like it was lost in the generic wash that was done for Overwatch 2. But there's this Space Prince one, absolutely, like, so good. I love all the different gold kind of bands within the hairstyle. That really adds a lot here. And I love the belt work. Obviously white and gold, and then the boots are just so great. Like, it's just, and there's even a little bit of purple just to further elevate and make this feel more royal. It's just such a strong look, easily making his way through the door. There's also this more like jazzy one, Jazzman. Might feel like more of like the musician staff than like an actual attendee, but either way qualifies him to enter the door of the gala. Then we have, I have no idea how to say his name, Torbjorn. Mechanic, kind of gives World of Warcraft dwarf oriented. We've seen it, but just with a little bit more of like a rugged, slightly biker style. Definitely love the Overwatch 2 design better. I feel like naturally, I think his design does lean into a steampunk style and aesthetic. Very native to his personal style, and works and is by design very polished since it's inspired by some Victorian, much nice contrast and flex in style for a character like him based on his default. Zarya's design, I was gonna say is boring, but that's because I'm looking at the Overwatch 2 picture. The Overwatch 1 picture or design isn't like that much more great, but we just get more arm showing. She just feels like much more of a badass in Overwatch 1, and I feel like she was kind of tamed down in Overwatch 2. Like, that's where it really is hit or miss in how the treatment to the overall concepts in the sequel really kind of changed things up. As far as the Formalwear, it's giving like Men in Black alien impersonator. That's the best proxy that we're getting here. It qualifies just based on the suit going on, and I actually like the integration of the hardware into the suit. Kiriko's design is cute. It kind of leans into what I've been expressing across my whole catalog of videos, where I like when something is culturally, traditionally inspired, but has a little bit more of that modern twist. And we see that with something that's a little bit more sneakerish, something a little bit more like street style casual. So loving the play there. And I really love the overall dimension and silhouette and structure to her skirt. There's this terrible wind, if that's the name of it, I think, that still follows that structure and framework, but just is recolored and gives way more leg body confidence. That just makes it feel a little bit more chic and sharp. And I really like that. And just obviously she has like an open and free hairstyle, which I feel like further kind of reinforces that energy and that vibe. But when we go full Empress situation, like this is just going all the way, true to her style, but just really leans fully into the luxurious experience. Loving the texture, the quilted textures, loving just the more overall elevated structure and patterns and embroidery and detail going on throughout the whole entire thing. Next we have D.Va, and I think I like her Overwatch 2 mech better, but I think I like her Overwatch 1 suit better. Just overall, I just really like her color palette, but I mean, a bodysuit style, you already know how I feel about that, and I think I know how you feel about that to an extent. But I just would have thought that they would be a little bit more creative with a sassy, kind of confident character like her. In this dainty cat outfit, I think it's definitely more kind of prissy, a little bit more soft and overall stylish, especially for a formal experience, but it's giving a little cutesy. And I didn't see really any other like genuinely chic, like designer oriented outfits, and I feel like she'd be prime for some sort of design like that. So I was a little surprised they haven't really gone there with her. Ashe is one of my favorite stylish characters out of the whole entire franchise. I just think that even though similar to Cassidy, it's a Western experience that she's giving, she just wears it so elevated. And I do think I like the Overwatch 2 better because the Overwatch 1 definitely sells through that rugged Western style. But I love the vest and a little bit more of like just the overall gold detailing and how it pops against more of the neutral colors in the Overwatch 1 design. But the Overwatch 2, even though it's darker, I feel like it leans into a slightly different framework that just gives her a little bit more edge and breaks her out of the stereotypical color palette and framework of a Western design. So that's why I'm kind of digging that there. She has a couple options. There's this socialite look, which leans very much into her core structure. So really not deviating too far from her personal style. Loving the color of the jacket, the different style of the hat, but it kind of just follows a little bit more of the, especially Overwatch 1 framework a bit. But loving how her companion is also a little bit more kind of tuxedoed and dressed. Great complementary relationship between these two. But even though it's a mobster design, oh, I just really love the way this looks on her, and I couldn't help but to talk about it now. Even though her partner's not really giving as much of like a super formal experience, it kind of takes away from it. I love her high-waisted, like suspender jumpsuit situation. Like it looks so good. That's one of my most favorite silhouettes on a woman in general. Like Soldier 76, I mean, I'd say it's by default one of the more kind of like actual outfit designs, so I have to give some credit there. I do think I almost prefer Overwatch 1 better as far as the overall outfit is concerned, but I like a little bit more of the simplicity in like the visor or the goggle detail in Overwatch 2. So I mean, pluses and minuses, but overall it's like, it is what it is. This overall general is formal. I mean, there's nothing wrong with kind of wearing your stripes and showing up to the party and just really basking in that pride. So I feel like as much as it's kind of like we've seen this before, I mean, give the credit and the respect where it's due. Talking about a little bit more designer, fashion, and style, I'm gonna have to say that this one, I think it's like Survivor, just gives a little bit more of that fantasy. Like the buttons, the vest style, just the overall structure of it, it feels a little bit more like Arcane-esque, like Jace Arcane Survivor kind of. But he's also really high class within Piltover, so I'm kind of like, this fits. Love Widowmaker's design. She was definitely a character that stood out to me when I was looking at this game superficially. I do think I love the Overwatch 1 design better because we get some great cleavage. I don't know that we're getting as strong of like cleavage action in Overwatch 2. I just feel like the deep cut and the nature of the suit felt a little more lethal and a little bit more just serious in Overwatch 1 compared to 2, and that's where we already know how that goes with the treatment that they gave to the sequel, but it still is a nice bodysuit overall. There's this black or dark lily style that leans into something that's a little kind of culturally inspired. Definitely feels sharp, has some stockings. I mean, I feel like it's a little simple, but it's like a simple sleigh that can get her through the night and the day. So there's nothing wrong with it. I think it qualifies, but I'm gonna have to say literally this one called Winter Chic. Like it looks designer, like for maybe just like going to a special event during the winter season, but the overall white coloring, gold complements, and just the chic intention and vision behind this makes it just feel a little bit more accessible and just a little bit more deliberate. I like Ramattra's design because it just feels mystical, even for more of like a tank or defender oriented character. I mean, we've seen it before. It's just more in like robotic or mech orientation. Really loving the staff, really loving the cloak. I mean, yeah. But this look is so good. Like, loving a full outfit moment. Much more of like a general style, but the purple and the black and the gold, really doing it. Still feels kind of rugged, still feels like it aligns with a little bit something more solid and defender oriented, but leans into something a little softer and stylish and designer. Winston, I mean, it's a gorilla in a spacesuit. Like, how am I supposed to feel about that? I think I like the Overwatch 2 design better. This is where the roundedness and the cleaner nature, I feel like just resonates with me more based on his design. Gorilla silhouettes can tend to be a little bit more rounded anyway, so I feel like that works. This businessman one makes sense to me. Like, it's clean. I like that. Again, I like the integration of like a formal suit with more of those armor elements. So it's just a nice straightforward integration. Like, it doesn't really get much more clear than that. There's a different one for like more of a ringleader. I might include it. I might as well include it at this point. Just felt it leaned a little too fantastical, a little too whimsy. But I mean, depending on the theme and concept, I mean, it's two extremes. You have this basic businessman one and maybe something a little bit more fantasy. So it just really depends on the nature of the event. Zenyatta is interesting. We've seen this kind of structure before. Reminds me of, again, like that Street Fighter character that I think I've highlighted before. We're getting a little bit more clothing and style in Overwatch 2. But there were a couple options, actually, I think at least 2 to 3. But I feel like this one really paid it off. It could just be my bias towards purple. I'm just like kind of realizing that now. The purple and the gold. But it's just like the headwear, the structure of it. I love like the padded quilted arm sleeve details. And then even the boots and shoes feel like it's part of the fashion. Then we have Mei. I like the more kind of sleek, clean redesign in Overwatch 2 treatment for her. I just feel like it was a little extra rugged and bulky in Overwatch 1. And I feel like this new design just feels a little bit more complementary to her core design. And there was, I think, one skin that there are a couple that leaned easily into something that's like super simple, safe slay for a formal event, but obviously another Empress one. Like, let's just go all the way there. Once again, true to her culture and her heritage, but I love more of this kind of dress style for her. And it just really plays up her femininity to another layer and just feels, I don't know, just it's so well decorated with the gold. Like, Moira's design by nature is a little bit kind of formal anyway. I think I like the Overwatch 2 design better here. I love the darker all black situation going on in Overwatch 1, but I just feel like we're getting a little bit more, we can see and just like appreciate a little bit more of the details and design with, I think, a brighter color palette in this case. Even though I think that the all black is so sharp. And there were also, I think, a couple of options, but in this like Ice Queen one, at least she's wearing boots. In other cases, it's just like no shoes. Gotta have some shoes at a gala, please. And loving it. I mean, we've kind of seen this before too, like an Ice Queen concept, but it's just very well designed. Great details, great hardware. Really loving the boots in this case, and I love the extra addition of purple. Iadi's design is interesting. I like how there's different colors going on that makes it not feel so one-dimensional armored bodysuit or just armored outfit in general. I mean, it's really not kind of pushing the norms by any means, but it's well put together and provides enough kind of specific detail. Could have gone with like one of the recolors. There's like maybe a rare version or an epic version that kind of just deviated slightly from the default that could have leaned into this. I feel like this Dawnbreaker one really goes there. It's a lot more armored and like official night oriented, which kind of could be overkill for a kind of gala formal event experience, but I still just like a lot more of the polished, elite, exquisite details going on between the hat. The cape is just stronger. Echo might be one of my favorite designs for like a non-human character. Like, I just love the clean, sleek roundedness and just the real like slimness to her overall design and silhouette. Really simple, but I mean, I just really love that simplicity. This Victorian doll look is the strongest available skin for her to attend in. Once again, by design, Victorian. And I know a lot of people who watch my channel are into the Victorian design. It gets a little kind of like we've seen this before, but you could just do so much with it. And it by design is designer that it can get away with so much with so many different characters and really transform their overall aesthetic, especially when they have some decent distance from that overall kind of aesthetic. Then we have Brigitte or Brigitte. I think it's Brigitte, but yeah, I mean, I think I like the Overwatch 2 better. It's that slim sleekness, simplified treatment that was given. I like a little bit more of the color pop from the original design. There weren't as many options that I would have appreciated for a formal attire, but the Vampire Hunter design, once again, like that kind of gothic, medieval, Victorian style just comes through and lends some inherent like designer style to these characters. I mean, it's put together. The kind of more skull or like motifs are a bit intense for this. Then we have Sombra, and I love the color palette right off the bat, and really liking the sleeve coordination with the leggings or the tights. Even though like the silhouette's the same, they did a good job there, but I feel like we lost some interesting details that made the Overwatch 1 look so much more interesting in very simple, subtle ways. But I mean, at least we get a little bit of shoulder, I think, in the Overwatch 2. This one leans into like a witch archetype. I've even said before how I think, if done right, a pointy wizard hat could actually kind of be pretty slay. And I think that's what's going on here. I feel like this is so much sharper out of her whole collection of outfits. Between the coloring and the stockings have a nice design. Really wish she was wearing some sort of like heel or boot that would have just really taken this all the way. Then we have Mercy. Definitely recognize this character. Angelic, strong details. I mean, just an overall really good character design. I do think I like the Overwatch 2 design a little bit better. I think that's an evolution. It feels really similar, but just a little cleaner. Overall, pretty consistent. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it in this case for sure. This look, so extravagant. Love the all gold fabric actual garment. Like, give us a whole gold experience. Also giving a little bit of that Hollywood, kind of like old Hollywood flair and style. So simple. I mean, in this case, you don't need to do too much. Giving a great shape that is just perfect for the event. And then we have Venture, and I do like the default style that he has. It just feels like that typical kind of like almost a little bit of jet set, radio, cyberpunk, which I'll be talking about cyberpunk eventually. I'm excited about that. Kind of energy, a little urban, a little street, futuristic. I mean, it works for him. This look, which I think is like ice cream. It's called Ice Cream or Ice Cream Man. It's technically a uniform. It's camp and a little whimsy, but if you were to just take away like the name tag and like maybe change up the hat, the overall framework and structure is very polished and works really nicely, even with like the strawberry motif. If you didn't see a character covered, then they weren't invited and they didn't have what they needed in their wardrobe. Let me know what you think about these Overwatch character designs, although I think people have shared enough of their thoughts on Overwatch, especially with the introduction of Marvel Rivals. Let me know if there were any sort of formal attire that resonated with you most. I could explore some more of the cosmetic lines, but we'll see how this video does. But until the next one, I'll talk to you later.